So hello and welcome to the video. I've made a few videos now about the British Airways Executive Club, and in all of them I talk about Avios. Spending Avios is one of the best parts of being in the Executive Club, and I wanted to focus on that aspect of Avios in this video. Spending them is great, but you can very easily and unwittingly end up getting very poor value for your redemptions. The question of value is the key. Up until about a year ago, it was very hard to say what an Avio was worth. But there is now a mechanism through which the floor value of an Avio has been set. It's now very easy to judge whether a redemption represents good value. In this video, I'll show you what that floor valuation is, and I'll explain how to calculate the true value of the redemption you're being offered. I've had a couple of comments on previous videos that I jog through the maths parts of my videos quite quickly, so I'll take the maths very slowly in this video. I hope you'll see that the calculations aren't that difficult once you understand the mechanics of what you're trying to achieve. So if that sounds good, and it sounds pretty good to me, then stick around! Hi, I'm Matt. Over the last 25 years I've travelled a lot. I've lived in 5 countries on 4 continents. I've flown over 1.3 million miles. I've visited over 100 countries, every American state, but I'm nowhere near done. So subscribe and perhaps you'll pick up some hacks, hints and tips to make your next trip better. So first up, let's look at the floor value of an Avio that is now being cemented. Spending them for anything less than the cash value of this floor is probably not a good idea. I'll come back to that probably word later. The floor valuation comes through a relationship that has been established with Nectar. From January of this year, you've been able to transfer your Nectar points across to the Avios scheme, and crucially, you can transfer your Avios back to the Nectar scheme. Nectar points can then be spent in Sainsbury's and Argos, but you can also get gift cards for other retailers such as Marks and Spencer's if you're running short on underwear. There is a monthly cap of the Avios that you can transfer out, but that's 50,000 points, so it won't have an impact on the vast majority of us. So what is the valuation that has been created? Well, to work it out we need to do a little bit of maths. From the BA website we can see that 250 Avios can be converted into 400 Nectar points. From the Sainsbury's website we can see that 500 Nectar points are worth £2.50. So 400 Nectar points are therefore worth £2, which means that 250 Avios are worth £2, so one Avio is worth 0.8 of a pence. You might prefer to remember that 1,000 Avios is worth £8. So if you are considering a redemption that generates a value of less than 0.8 of a p, think again. You'd be better off using those Avios to fund your shopping through the Nectar scheme, which allows you to use the cash you save in Sainsbury's to buy whatever it was you were looking to redeem your Avios for. There's one consequence of Avios now having an explicit valuation and liquidity. BA used to compensate people for poor service with Avios. Throwing a few Avios at grumpy or disgruntled customers used to be route 1 for making the issue go away. Now that Avios can so easily be cashed out, BA doesn't seem so keen to solve issues in that way. So there are plenty of ways of spending Avios, and there's probably more than you might think. The obvious one is flights with BA, so let's look at that first. So how do you value the Avios cost of a flight redemption? Well, it's time for some examples, and it's time for some maths. I looked at flights from Heathrow to Seville. An economy return flight in cash would cost you £155.92p. Those flights are also available as an Avios redemption, and you will see a number of payment options. When I was scripting this video I thought I'd be talking about reward flight savers and carrier surcharges and how fares are actually calculated, but all of that's actually irrelevant if you're just looking to make a booking. I've talked about all of those things before in other videos, so I'm going to skip them here and just focus on how you calculate the value. So the first option costs you 24,500 Avios plus £1. So you're saving £154.92p at a cost of 24,500 Avios. That means you're getting a value of 0.63 pence per Avio. It's quite simple maths, you're just dividing one number into the other. The trick really is to get those numbers the correct way round. The way I remember it is that you're looking for a pence per Avios number, which in mathematics means the pence divided by the Avios. So the cash value goes on the top, the numerator in maths speak, and the number of Avios goes on the bottom and is the denominator in maths speak. And as long as you keep your wits about you as regards pence versus pounds, it's quite straightforward. BA then offers you a number of alternatives, all of which generate a better pence per Avios rate than the headline one they offered. Unsurprisingly, BA steers you towards an option that's best for them. The less they have to give away in return for wresting an Avio from your account, the better. So as you can see, only one of these options generates a better valuation than the magic 0.8p. So that's the only one I would consider. With every other option, you're better off using your Avios for your shopping and buying the ticket for cash. So is it any better looking at business class? The cash fare is £348.92p and the headline quote is 42,500 Avios plus a quid. That's 0.82 pence per Avio, so immediately we're in the money, and that is a redemption that you would probably hit. But if you look at the other options offered, once again BA is giving you the best valuation for them, and things improve when you consider the other alternatives. You can get as much as 1.16 pence per Avio for this flight. I generally say that premium redemptions offer you the best value, and this is a clear illustration of that being true. A couple more examples. London Heathrow to Los Angeles costs £499.87 in economy again. You can actually get a cheaper fare if you're prepared to travel with just hand baggage, but as the redemptions to both here and Seville include a baggage allowance, I've taken an equivalent cash fare to keep things comparable. The headline quote here is 60,000 Avios plus £150. BA prices its intercontinental redemptions quite differently. We're back to the whole reward flight saver thing, which I'm trying to avoid talking about. The headline rate is 0.58 pence per Avio, which again is poor. The other options actually worsen things here, and quite amusingly, the lowest Avios option actually requires a cash payment greater than if you'd bought the fare in cash. Looking at business class on this flight, you'd have to stump up over £3,600 for a ticket. The headline offer is 125,000 Avios plus £670, which is an Avios value of 2.37p. Now we're talking. Be aware that on this route the cash element did go up when you clicked continue for some reason, so just keep that in mind if you are searching for these yourselves. But this redemption actually improves as you go down the options, peaking at a pretty decent 2.86p per Avio. I'll mention here that first class redemptions are quite rare to find these days, not least because British Airways has fewer and fewer planes that are actually equipped with a first class cabin. But if you can find them, the values for a first class redemption are often even greater than for business. Now, with that business class redemption, some of you might argue that that valuation is only really real if you'd have been prepared to pay the 3,600 quid for the ticket. The cash element you'd still need to pay for that business class redemption is actually higher than the economy class ticket would have cost you, although the flying experience is obviously radically different. Only you will know if that valuation is actually real for you, but if you are looking to use your Avios for experiences that you might not otherwise have, then business class is a very good way to go with your redemptions. So that's the mechanics of calculating the value of Avios in a redemption, and the mechanics will always be the same whatever route you're looking at. The Avios cost of a specific route is fixed, so the value you're getting will increase as the cash value of the ticket increases. If that economy flight to Seville was priced at more than £197, the value of the Avios would then exceed 0.8p, and so that redemption would then make sense. That of course assumes that the seat will remain available for booking with Avios as the cash cost of it increases. Redemption inventory is under BA's control, so as the flight fills up and the opportunity cost of giving away a seat through the Avios route increases, they may close out the flight to redemptions, which is where the best Avios valuations can be found, but only if you're a British Airways Gold member. There's a benefit of the gold tier of membership called the Gold Priority Reward, where for double the usual Avios cost, you can force open a seat for redemption. So if there is no award availability showing, this might be an option. The classic example usually given is the winter half-term flights to the snowfields. Flights to Innsbruck in February half-term week are extremely expensive already. But if you force a seat to open using the Gold Priority Reward, you can get tremendous value for your Avios. This can be a lifesaver and is a real benefit of achieving that gold tier within the programme. I wanted to try to make a bit of a punchier, shorter video this week, but I don't think I'm succeeding. But nevertheless, I have to pause to ask you to subscribe if you're new. There's no cost, and all it will make it easier for YouTube to let you know when I've released a new video. Please also like this video if you're getting something from it, and leave me a comment. I'm still replying to all of them, and I would love to hear from you. Right, a word on other redemptions. Through the BA website, you can easily book hotels and cars. The good parts are that there are no cash contributions required, and because the hotels will also be available on the BA Holidays website, you can very easily check whether the valuation is worthwhile. The Novotel in Seville, chosen completely at random and not in any way a recommendation, costs over 21,000 Avios for one night, and you can find the same hotel on that same night for £113 on the BA Holiday website. That's only 0.52p per Avio. That improves a bit as you work through the other options, but it's only the very last option that would represent good value. And you can get the room even cheaper through booking.com. You can also redeem Avios through BA for experiences and a few other things. One thing people consider attractive is the Wine Club. Quite cleverly, Laithwaites, who are the wine scheme's provider, offer bundles through BA that they don't offer on their own website, so you can't do a direct pricing comparison. But in general, you'll be getting that same 0.5p per Avio for the wine purchases. Before the Nectar deal, that might have felt quite reasonable, and that valuation was quite widely used. And even though it seems clear that it is no longer good value, lots of providers seem to be sticking with it. As I hinted earlier, there may be situations where achieving 0.5p per Avio is actually great, notwithstanding everything that I've said. And that's if you have millions of Avios. It's a nice problem to have, but it is still a problem. I've talked about this before, but the enemy of all points collectors is devaluation. Any loyalty program can devalue their points overnight. They can't take your points away from you, but they can increase the thresholds for redemptions, which makes the points that you are holding less valuable. This is a little less of a threat as long as that 0.8 of a p Nectar valuation holds, but the advice is still to manage your balance and not let it get too high. Hold enough for what you can see yourself doing over the next year or two, but if you have more than that on hand, the threshold for what might represent good value is probably going to reduce. If you have 5 million Avios and you're very unlikely to ever get through them on flight rewards, then filling your wine cellar at 0.5p per Avio sounds like a pretty good idea to me. Finally, Avios are used more widely than just British Airways. They are the loyalty currency of Iberia and Aer Lingus, and there's also a website called avios.com through which you can spend them. It is relatively straightforward to transfer your Avios between these programs, and by doing so you can access things that British Airways may not offer. It's beyond the scope of this video, but the way that Iberia prices its redemptions is sometimes different to how BA does it, so there can be opportunities to get a better deal by moving your Avios to Iberia before making a redemption booking. But I'll save all that for another video. So there you go, how to spend your Avios and how to know whether a redemption represents good value. I'm still monitoring all comments, so shoot me through a question if you have any, and leave this video a like. It really helps me out, and well, let's be honest, it's the least you can do if you've made it this far through the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again in the next one. Goodbye.